Welcome to Doctor Who Reviews. This week we are reviewing Michael Hoovian's worst nightmare, Frontios. And to review it with me, I have my two usual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, I don't want to alarm anyone, but since our co-host last week left us, he's been howling his reflection in the moon all week. It's Freezing Inferno.
Hi! Fuck Noel Clark.
Wow, just going right in there. just straight in there at the beginning of the show.
What can I say? I went for the throat like a wolf. Ooh!
Krista has been teaching you well. And to my virtual right, she'll make you feel the wrath of your ways, she'll make it real, she'll be your end of days. It's Kat.
I honestly don't know who that is, but sure, fuck Nora Clark.
Mickey.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Fuck him, anyways.
I'm guessing a lot of people wish they could forget about that now.
I don't equate actors with their characters all that much. I very, very rarely remember actors' names unless they're like huge stars. So I didn't even know that was the guy who played Mickey until I clicked on the link and saw his picture. So.
Well, he got a Lifetime Achievement BAFTA, so he must be somewhat of a big star, which was then rescinded.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I suppose you've now thrown it out there.
It's gone, just like his career.
I'm all for... Obviously, I believe in innocent till proven guilty.
Yeah.
At the same time, 20 women.
Yeah. It's this weird disconnect of you want to believe people, but also you realize that because this is a big name, there is always the chance that someone's doing this for revenge. But again, 20 women.
People.
Yeah. As I say, it should be innocent until proven guilty, but the threshold of believability sort of goes down somewhat when it's 20 different accusers at once, and those are just the ones we know about at the moment.
And also, you got to think, you know what these accusers get out of it? Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it's not nothing. They do get their 5 minutes of fame unless they hide their names, as well as getting to take down somebody they might not like.
There have been false accusations in the past of
and their reputation gets dragged through the mud and they get harassed and then back by defenders of the person they accuse. So,
if they get revealed as liars,
why do you think I didn't want to get involved in this?
Either way, it's a very rocky subject to talk about. All I could say is believe the people, but don't go on a witch hunt. Yeah,
I think that's about the most balanced way of...
Yeah. It's if there's any sort of proof that shows that he really has done these things and has not apologized for anything, and it's extreme, then absolutely shame him, but obviously don't send him death threats or anything.
There's a particular phrase that works here: trust but verify.
Go for anyone's throat, literally, but also in your own personal time and opinion. Fuck Noel Clark.
Yeah. And if as we believe he has done what he said he's done, then Joe Berman's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
If he's innocent, Noel Clark can survive me saying fuck Noel Clark.
Well, he
that's a big
himself against the allegations, so we'll find out one way or another.
Anyway, let's talk about gravity pill bugs.
Yeah, it's a good thing that John Barrowman's coming back for the next season of Doctor Who, isn't it?
Yeah, about that.
Can we talk about gravity pill bugs now?
Yeah, let's talk about the cockroach shrimp.
You see, what we've done is that we've actually managed to soften the blow by talking about something even worse than much worse than Frontios, because actually Frontios wasn't that bad for me.
Frontios was not that bad.
Yeah, well...
I respect Mike's opinion that this is his least favourite episode, because we can all have a least favourite episode.
But he's wrong.
But for me, it's not my least favourite.
I wouldn't call it my least favourite. There are things I like about it.
I was being more diplomatic than he's wrong, but yeah, if you want to go that cat, you can too.
Well,
he's wrong.
Well, ain't that cute? But he's wrong.
Pretty much.
So let's I don't really have any history. Well, there is one thing that's interesting to me, is that this is written by Christopher H. Bidmead, who was the script editor for Tom Baker's final season, and also pitched a hand in Warriors Gate, which is one of my favorite Tom Baker, actually my favorite Tom Baker episode, as I recall saying on our podcast, which I still believe. So it's an interesting script from him. I'll give it that.
Yeah. It has been played by one or two rather tragic events that happened during filming and production. But we'll get to that when we talk about a particular guest character.
Oh, I don't know this story, so this is going to be a surprise. Let's discover it together as we talk about Frontios.
It's not a good surprise, unfortunately, but...
I didn't think it was, but yeah. It sounds like somebody either nearly died or died.
You've got it in one. But nobody actually on the serial itself. That's your only hint. So Frontios then opens with soldiers digging for some kind of metallic ore.
Fun.
And straight away we get one of the soldiers, who is Chief Officer Brazen, or actually to find out Chief Orderly Brazen, who is quite the highlight of this particular story for me.
So you like this character, actor?
I kind of do, even though he's a bit of a jerk.
He's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, holding a coup later on is a bit of a jerk move, but yes.
Well, he doesn't hold the coup.
Well, technically he does.
Yeah. But unfortunately, as the captain of the soldiers, who's not Brazen, is digging, there's a big landfill, and he is buried under some rubble.
Some rubble that is totally unable to be moved, even though the dude was moving it by breathing.
Yeah.
Little bit of an error there, but it was kind of noticeable, so I had to point that out.
80 sets. But
yeah, I know, but still.
Listen, if you ever saw Warriors from the Deep, you'd be able to forgive this.
No, we need time to prepare for that.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
So what you're saying is, on my next pick, choose that one.
We have done a lot of Fifth Doctor.
Yeah, let's leave 5 alone for a bit.
Oh, fine. I'll pick a Colin Baker episode next time, if I must.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it's a change of pace.
Oh, actually, I could pick one of the ones I actually own. That's amazing.
We haven't actually done Colin Baker in quite some time, so if you want to do that, that's fine by me.
Hey.
Assuming I haven't picked a Colin Baker episode next.
We still haven't done Twin Dilemma, technically.
I haven't picked a Colin Baker episode next, but...
Picked anything yet?
Oh, you think I wouldn't double dip?
Oh, I know you would double dip. You'd triple and quadruple dip if you had to.
Oh yeah, I'd go through an entire season if need be.
Well, the Captain Revere is his name. Well, he's buried under all this stuff, but it's okay. I mean, the guys can dig him out and, save him. Oh,
and
wait.
He's gone.
Oh, what the fuck happened here?
He's just gone?
He went back to his own planet with Poochie.
And Brazen is basically just like, oh, don't you tell anybody about this shit. This is classified information.
This never happened.
He died from an explosion.
So now we cut to the TARDIS, and our team is, as it was in 5 Doctors, 5 Tegan and Turlo.
Hey!
I have a question, Jerry. How do you feel about hats?
Fine.
Well, the Doctor is very concerned about hats.
It's just Tegan and Turlo sitting in the console room, and all they hear is the Doctor in another room, and all you hear is just smacking sounds, and it's like, what the fuck is he doing? And he comes out talking about hats, and he takes a hat rack, and he's like, oh, nice, hat rack.
I can't believe this sentence is about to escape my mouth, but that hat stand is important later on.
That's not a lie.
Mr. Chekhov, we're just going to set your hat stand right over here.
Chekhov's hat stand?
Oh, jeez.
So, this is where the episode gets a little... Well, the story, I should say, episode. This is where it gets a little weird, for me, and not in the good like Gonzo weird, just in the wait, what the fuck are we trying to do here? Weird.
This is some weird shit for
Yeah.
even for us.
So the TARDIS gets pulled off course while it's over
Well-
this planet.
Well, from what I understand is that they drifted into the far, far future, and then like there's just like this interference, and it's just like yoink.
But what's weird about this is a colony of future humans. And we're in the far. It's not said. Like, I know the new series says that the end of the universe, the last humans, is the year 100 trillion. I don't know if the story is that far out. I don't know. They don't give a concrete date in the story. Like, I'm sure what does TARDIS Wiki have to say about when Frontios takes place?
It doesn't.
It doesn't? Oh,
No.
well.
No, it just says that his ship drifts far into the future and comes to rest around Frontios, one of the last outposts of human civilization following the collision of the Earth with its sun.
So, according to that, it has to be, wait, collision of Earth with the sun?
That's what it says?
I'm thinking of the second revival story where the sun incinerates the Earth, and that's like in the year 5 billion.
The end of the world, yeah.
Yeah, end of the world. That's I don't know. Either way, that's not the weird part. When this is set is not the weird part. And I should also mention that Turlough's a little shit because the Fifth Doctor is kind of like, oh, well, Tegan, you really shouldn't know too much about your own history. And Turlough's just reading off the screen, the colonists of the doomed planet Earth went to this space.
I unironically love Turlough.
I also like Turlough.
Turlough's a little shit, and I'm here for it.
I quite like characters that know they're little shits, though.
Yeah. Like, he knows he's a little shit.
It.
He knows he's a coward. And
He's
he's
not
just
trying
like,
to hide it, which is great.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is the way the Doctor mentions that the laws of time say that he can't interfere with this colony, which is strange to me.
That's just
it's
not
not.
It's not framed in the usual terms of, oh, this is a fixed point in time, the events here have to happen, or any shit like that. It's framed more like the Prime Directive in Star Trek.
Oh my god.
Actually, what it feels like to me is that he's saying time is still being written after this, and if we interfere, we could write a new sort of time. It's like he's saying that there's nothing in the future just yet. It's still being done.
Yeah. Do you know how Orphan 55... Well, it upset a lot of people for a lot of reasons, myself included, but one of the things people really were upset about was that it was doing something Doctor Who never did, which was possible futures.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at the vast pamphlet of stories set in the future, at this point, the end of the world has perhaps more iterations than what happened to Atlantis.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head. Like, how can you square away shit like Ark in Space, Mysterious Planet?
Oh, I can square it away real easily. The Doctor comes in, fucks shit up for the evil bad guys, and then saves the world several times.
Well, these stories I'm talking about are when the Earth has already had a cataclysm of sorts.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that the Doctor does some timey-wimey bullshit, and that changes the fate of the Earth each time.
Yeah.
I suppose, but what's weird here is the way that even the Doctor, who's like the master meddler of sorts, is just like, oh, the Time Lords would be really pissed off if I meddle here. I'd better stay away. Like, that does to me feel like, again, the Prime Directive in Star Trek. Oh, forbidden to interfere. And I'll just say, the Prime Directive in Star Trek is bullshit!
Yeah.
You know what would have been really, really good if the Doctor was like, oh, the Time Lords would be really mad if I landed here. Let me just not touch these controls to suddenly land here. Oh no, we seem to have landed here. Whatever shall we do?
Like, Doctor Who, this series, overall, is so diametrically opposed to an idea like the Prime Directive in Star Trek, which I don't know how much Star Trek either of you two have seen.
A lot.
Okay. Well, for the viewers at home, the Prime Directive is basically the Federation in Star Trek making a rule that don't interfere with the affairs of any planet that doesn't have warp drive. So,
And then put up a title card that says the Enterprise proceeds to interfere with all.
No, it's not even that. It's like, okay, you get the idea of like, don't give cavemen phasers on this alien planet. Like that's a sound idea. But most Prime Directive stories are like, oh look, this pre-warp society is about to fucking melt due to a volcano. Too bad we can't interfere. I guess we have to sit up here in our spaceship and feel really bad that all these people are going to die. And then in the last 5% of the episode, they're like, fuck it, we'll save all these people anyway. And they do it.
I can think of one time that they actually did not interfere, and the only reason is because they would have been destroyed if they had interfered.
Yeah, but it's just bullshit. And Doctor Who does shit like this as well. But I mean, you've got episodes like The Fires of Pompeii, where even though he can't save everyone, Donna persuades him to save Peter Capaldi's family and shit like that. But Prime Directive just pisses me off coming from Doctor Who, where it's like, this is a story about an idiot who does nothing but interfere and makes the universe a better place by saving people, as many as they can.
Yeah.
So the Doctor does do his very best to save people in the story. It's not really a Prime Directive story in that regard, but there are the occasional bits of, well, don't tell anyone I was here. Don't tell anyone I did any of this shit, or the Time Lords will be really cross. And it's just strange. Like, I don't know what Bidmead was going for, to be honest.
No.
It is a bit weird,
But with those moments, that's why I think that him being like, oh, I'm definitely not going to interfere. Hi, everybody of Frontios. I was not here. Understand? Yeah. I'm going to help you guys, but I was not here. Doing it on purpose rather than it being part of the plot that he is dragged down.
The Doctor doesn't even take that choice because there's like a meteor shower and something pulls the TARDIS right down to Frontios.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah,
and they land, and they're in the middle of like a meteor shower, and there's hurt people. So, like I said, the Doctor immediately comes out and sees hurt people, and it's like, shit, let's get out of here. We gotta help. Which I like.
Yeah, the Doctor gets to be a doctor for once.
Always good.
So this leads to a bit of a subplot in the episode, a big run around because Bidmead's got to eat.
I guess.
Before we get to that, yeah. So the Doctor takes these wounded men into like some building, like I guess it's a makeshift. What would you call it? God,
makeshift. They call it like a bomb shelter. Apparently, it used to be a hospital.
Makeshift
used to be a hospital. Yeah, and then it got turned into a shelter.
I call it a field hospital.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So they're trying to help out. Everyone's just like, wait, who the hell are you guys? Never mind. These people are injured. We need supplies. And it's dark, so the Doctor's like, Turlo, go get some lights from the TARDIS and a med kit so I can help these people. And Tegan and Turlo head on into the TARDIS, but they get to the console room. They try to go deeper into the TARDIS, and oh, wait, the door won't open. It's jammed. It's not locked, it's jammed. Weird.
Oh, no.
It's not just jammed.
It's every single Silent Hill game ever where the door is fucking jammed.
The wall's like twisted. Kind of.
It's interesting.
And Turlo is very, very concerned about this.
This is the one part of the story that I'm not behind, and what happens later to the TARDIS. It's just very strange to me.
Oh, I think
it's not really explained.
I think this is one of my objections too, from what I remember. Is the TARDIS bullshit?
I can understand that.
I can too. But we meet two very important supporting characters. We meet Norna and Range. Now,
they're nice.
Range is the science officer of Frontios, and he's been in a bit of a conflict with Brazen earlier. There's a scene where they're closing down the science division. They're sealing the scientific room, or whatever it's called.
The research lab.
The research lab, thank you. There's some real sort of political intrigue and conflict going on there. And I want to talk a little bit about Range, because this is where the first of the two tragedies happens.
Oh, no.
Range was not supposed to be played by this actor.
Oh.
This actor has been brought in at very short notice because the original choice was Peter Arne, but sadly, after he was cast as Range, he was brutally murdered in his own home.
Jesus!
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's fucked up.
So the new the replacement actor had very little time to get into his part. And actually, he did a good job, I think.
Like
He did.
Rain in this
He
story,
did, but it's a little hard to recover from. The guy before him was brutally
It
murdered.
was nothing to do with the show, you understand. It was a completely
I
separate...
know.
Well, yeah, but still.
And then
Holy fuck.
the other tragedy, so we'll just get it all out the way and we don't have to think about it again, is that the designer, or one of the designers, went on leave and then a year later was found dead and took his own life.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is cursed.
This is cursed is right. Fuck. God.
And knowing that, I can sort of forgive some of the acting choices later on in this serial, because one in particular, when we talk about the cliffhanger of part 1, really annoys me.
Okay. Well, the actor playing Range, I'll say, he's good. He's sort of like an old grandfatherly type.
Yeah.
And he's got a sensible head and is willing to listen to the doctor because he's a man of science. So I like the character and I like the actor.
Well, he has a sensible head for now. That changes in part 4.
It's not a character that it's not a character that we haven't seen before. Of course we have, but he's fine.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have, there's Brazen, who we mentioned, and the leader of the colony, whose name is a real fucking tongue twister that took me a while to get.
Plantagenet.
Plantagenet.
Don't diss my country's history.
And this is the usual bullshit of these stories. Like when this hit in part 1, I was like, oh god, here we fucking go again. Because these guys, they're paranoid because of all the constant meteor showers, so they think that they're at war with someone or other. And so when 3 strange people come into the town, they obviously think, oh, these are obviously foreign invaders. Oh, we shouldn't trust them. We should lock them up. We should be suspicious. We should not listen to a word they say, because if we do, that'll solve the story instantly. That sort of bullshit that drives me up the goddamn wall in 60s Doctor Who.
Also, can I say, I know that this isn't on the British people's minds, but you have a guy named Captain Revere, and you don't name his son Paul.
God.
Well, Plantagenet is the name of a ancient royal house in the UK.
Sure.
Right.
We'll go with that, and I'm going to still call him Plant Man.
He's not a Mega Man boss, Cat.
So a lot of episode 1 is taken up by this B plot of sorts, where Tegan, Turlough, and Norna are sneaking into the sealed up research room to get a battery to power the lights in the infirmary so that the doctor can treat people properly.
They had a side quest that they had to take care of before they got back on the main plot.
So it's just them sneaking around, causing distractions, being sneaky, getting into the thing, hoisting the thing, all this other bullshit. It goes on for a while. It is basically, it is just a side quest. It really is. It really does feel like padding in a sort.
They're trying to get an acid jar, which is like a special type of battery, because there's not enough light in the field hospital.
I mean, the idea of the hook and winch that's in the research room, that comes in later, but that could just as easily have come in when it comes into play later in the story. So
I'm also a little confused because at one point they're hoisting up the battery on this hook, and part of it slips off, and some of the acid falls on the ground and dissolves the floor as it usually would. This never comes into play. The acid is never used for anything like that, so I don't know why they decided to show us that.
Bidmead's gonna eat.
I guess.
Also, Bidmead really liked the movie Alien.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of Doctor Who writers like the movie Alien, though.
Who didn't like
that really
Alien?
does make sense, because of later on we've got tunnels with smooth walls and stuff.
Actually, it's really funny that I say that, because the story that Bidmead had a lot of input on, in fact, you could argue that he co-ghost wrote it, was Warrior's Gate. And how did that story open again?
Oh, God.
Fuck, it all comes back to Alien. God damn it, Ridley Scott. But, yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, but it gave us Earthshock, which is not to be forgiven for. No, I'm not done dunking on Earthshock. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Keep dunking on Earthshock. Earthshock kind of fucking sucks.
Some world building things to mention then. There's talk of a war, but they don't know who against. That's a classic trope. The bombardments didn't start until 10 years after the colonists first arrived. That's important for later on. Varuna is the solar system, but Frontios is the planet. I thought for a while it was like, oh, the planet's Varuna, so why is it called Frontios? No. That's the solar system. And then on the subplot, on the side quest bit, a guard, or they call him a warnsman. A warnsman finds out what they're doing and gets knocked out with the battery.
Which is important because apparently this guy is the only one who warns people about when meteors are going to strike.
Yeah. They
oh no, the sky is getting dark, which is usually around the time of a meteor strike.
They realize what they've done. They actually carry him to the field hospital to be treated.
Yeah.
But the bombardment, we don't know it's a meteor strike yet, but spoilers, it's a meteor strike.
Yeah.
So,
the bombardment takes place, and Plantagenet seems to be affected by it. He's clutching his chest, he's breathing heavily. Brayson's very worried about this. He's like, did you get hurt, sir? Oh, no, not at all.
Clearly,
and then he snaps back into position as soon as some of his people starts to come through. So he's very much about appearances.
Yes. Speaking of appearances, can we just talk a bit about how ridiculous the guards look in this story? These are the orderlies. And you can tell they're the orderlies by this ridiculous headpiece they have to wear.
It is the future, and everyone will wear space football helmets.
That marks them out to be different to the other colonists, I guess. Apart from Brazen, who doesn't have to wear that. He wasn't having that, and I can't say I blame him.
So, end of part 1 is... Oh, wow. What a cliffhanger this is.
Yeah.
So, Plantagenet is injured. But he's not... Like you said, he's sort of walks out. But the Dr. Tegan and Turlo are like hiding out. And the Doctor was basically, just before this meteor storm was coming, he was trying to prove to Plantagenet that he wasn't bad. So he's like, yeah, here, I'm going to show you my TARDIS. I'm going to show you how he came here. Then the meteor strike happens. They're just sort of hiding from it. And then everything's clear. Okay, let's go. Hey, where's the TARDIS? Oh no! There's a scorched hat stand here.
The TARDIS has turned into a hat stand. Oh no!
It's even worse than that. The TARDIS has been destroyed.
Yeah, and this is the thing that irks me. Okay,
as someone who has watched so much of the New Who, I am very shocked by this development. There's no way that this will continue on.
I know this particular story came after 5 Doctors, and therefore Peter Davison already knew he was being replaced as the Doctor. I know all this, right?
Yeah, you know it.
But this is a big moment. The TARDIS has been destroyed, supposedly. Could you not put a little bit more inflection into your voice?
Yeah, he really underplays it, doesn't he?
He sounds so bored.
But Radiac, the TARDIS has been destroyed. What other reaction could you possibly have to that?
Oh no.
No, my very means of moving from planet to planet has been destroyed. I'm stranded here forever.
Even in 1984, nobody bought this.
Yeah.
You're just sitting up on Monday evening and you're like, oh, yeah, sure. In this story, they totally blew up Doctor Who's TARDIS forever. Yeah.
Obviously, and actually, how far into the season was this?
This is I'd say close to the middle mark.
Yeah, we're not
season
too far from
21,
the end.
serial 3. So it's serial 3.
We're not too far from the end now.
Well, so we got 3 more stories with Peter Davison, and then they tacked on this other story starring this new guy, Colin Baker. You probably we should probably
never heard of him.
Just leave that one. Just leave
We don't
that
talk
one.
about that.
Let's not talk about that. Why am I hearing my own name in my head?
I don't know. Maybe you're secretly the Doctor.
So part 2. I kind of like the thing that Davison does here, where Plantagenet has got him at gunpoint. He's like, now we've got the spies, haha, all this other bullshit. And he basically just says, "Look, listen, I'm on your side. I'm not a bad guy, but if you're gonna kill me, just get on with it."
Yeah, I like that.
I really like that.
Norna tries to save him, saying that even if he is an invader, he'll have knowledge about what's happening to the planet.
Oh, funnily enough, it's actually Turlo who steps up next, because he goes and he grabs the nearest thing that he can, which happens to be the hat stand. And, timey-wimey bullshit, there's some sort of residual energy left over from the TARDIS. And so when he starts pointing the hat stand at everybody, there's like this small explosion. So, of course, everybody's like, oh, this is a weapon of great power. And that must be what's causing the meteors.
Yeah, they think... Brazen thinks that... Brazen is not a stupid man, but he thinks that the hat stand is causing the meteors.
Yeah.
There's also another bit of world building where we hear about these deserters. We've been hearing about this in part 1 as well, that members of the military have been deserting on a daily basis, and they become known as retrogrades.
The retros, as they've come to be known.
The Reds, yeah, the Reds. Which just makes me think of West Side Story for some reason. When you're a Ret all the way.
It would have been funny if they did just like start snapping while they came down the road.
That's the Twitter description for this episode sorted out. There we go. That's in the back.
Okay. Yeah. You keep that bad boy out. The class divide is going to come into play in parts 3 and 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the hat stand then, the hat stand wielding Turlo convinces the colonists to unseal the research room, because the Doctor wants to research what the hell is going on here. So, and this is sort of a companion split as well. So the Doctor, Turlo go along with Brazen, Plantagenet, and Norna to the research room. And Tegan and Range stay behind at the infirmary to get the lights back on to try and treat the people. So it's a little bit of a split going on here.
Yep.
You better let us in there. So we can help you, or else we'll get you with our deadly hat rack. Ooh.
Also, while we are here at the split, can I just say, whoever decided to put Tegan in her outfit for that day, whatever days they were filming, what the hell were you thinking? This poor woman is walking around on all these rocks and through like these graded areas in a fucking leather miniskirt and high heels. Who the fuck?
In defense
did
of
that to her?
She wasn't expecting to be on the planet of Frontios. But I agree with you, it's messed up.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up.
Yeah, just a bit. But
do you know what else is messed up? Trying to kill Turlo.
Yeah, so they get into the research room, but somebody slips Plantagenet a goddamn crowbar, with which he attempts to bash Turlo in the brain with from behind, but something stops him and he collapses in pain.
Bonitis. I'm going with bonitis.
Well, no, actually what turns out is that a meteor actually did hit him in the chest, and it hurt his heart really badly.
Yes.
So they have to get him back to the infirmary as soon as possible to try and save him.
And here I thought that he accidentally drank Turlo's bone-hurting juice. Give me that hat rack! Ow, my bones hurt! Ow, oof, ouch! So, while Plantagenet is falling down...
Dying.
Dying.
Tegan
and Range are doing their thing. And Range opens up a locked drawer, which is locked with like a little keyboard on top of like a file cabinet.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
And it's a cute little futuristic thing. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the keyboard I had. It's jankier because it's the 80s, but kind of reminds me of like a keyboard for a tablet.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
same sort of look. Anyway, he goes do on that and opens up the drawer, pulls out a file, and something distracts him. I think it's actually Plantagenet coming in, being
Yeah,
oh
it
god,
is.
he's hurt. And Tegan manages to be around. She's seeing, and she happens to see this file, and it's labeled "Deaths Unaccountable."
Oh
So
no.
that's suspicious. So she puts that in the drawer, and she shuts the drawer when someone's like looking her way. But oh, she shut the locked drawer, and she doesn't know the code. Ah, shit. Banging at the keys for a bit, trying to figure it out, and then she gets like a screwdriver or something, or a knife or whatever, some sort of prying instrument, and tries to pry the thing open, and Range catches her.
Yeah.
Well, before that happens, we do cut from her shutting the thing to them trying to save Plant Man, and they have the idea that they have a battery right here. Why don't they just try to shock his heart back to life as a defibrillator?
Jank defibrillate.
Yeah,
Jank
Ranger's got this
Thank you.
generator that Brazen's not happy about him having,
I can't speak.
but they use it as you say as a makeshift defibrillator,
Thank you.
and they managed to save Plantagenet. They restart his heart.
Yep.
Now,
And in
Well,
fact, this actually changes his mind about the doctor as well, because he hears that this happens. He's like, "You saved me, really?"
I actually like this because, for all I mentioned about how part one seemed to me be like a standard 60s Doctor Who, oh god, these idiots aren't going to believe the doctor, probably lock him up, prevent him from solving the problem till episode 4.
Yeah.
For all that, here's Bidmead, and he goes, okay, that. These idiots trust the doctor in episode 2. That doesn't solve the problem because the doctor doesn't even know what the problem is. Now he's got to work on solving the problem instead of being distracted by stupid bullshit like breaking out of jail.
Yeah, it's like even Brazen, who still doesn't really like the Doctor and his companions, he does eventually turn around, and he actually still listens to them at the very least.
Yeah, he's suspicious of them, but because he saved Plantagenet, he's think, well, if they were spies, why would they save the leader's life?
Exactly.
So, while this is happening, Turlo and Norna are doing research in the research room, trying to figure shit out. And Turlo discovers some things that don't exactly add up to the official history of Frontios. Like, Norna tells a little story about how Captain Revere outlawed digging, but also that when Norna was a kid, he told her a story about how they can't dig because they can't dig on the planet for like minerals or whatever because the Earth was quote unquote hungry.
Chibnall?
Oh shit! Oh shit! No!
Not a single original bone in his body.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like 2010 Chibnall, where we didn't even know the full extent of. Oh, this wasn't so bad. This is just kind of meeting up.
I don't care, Chibnall.
No. So the things that Turlo discovered, he's seeing these rocks, and some of the dates of the rocks are recent. Yet the quarry has been closed for years. And then there's the matter of that whole hook and winch, which wasn't in the room when Norna was there as a child, but is there now. It's another recent thing.
Yeah.
So they do a little investigation and find that, hey, the hook hooks into the floor and lifts it up, and you can get down under the floor, the metal flooring, and down into tunnels.
Hey.
Yeah, Taylor may be a coward, but he's a resourceful coward.
I mean, speaking of cowardly, Turlo, he's starting to get a sense of, like, not quite deja vu. It's just something that he can't quite put his finger on, but it's familiar.
Because they start going down into the quarry because, of course, they do. And, they're looking at all these walls, and they said that the rock looks moth-eaten. And then they start to get to walls that are smooth as glass. And Turlo has, like, this memory, and he keeps thinking about it, and all he knows is something called the Tractators.
Turlo is going to eventually be scared absolutely shitless by the end of this episode. But cutting back, Tegan does an oopsie.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got Brazen kind of calmed down on side, How did we ruin that? Oh, Tegan should talk about deaths unaccountable. Oops.
Yeah, she just casually mentions it, and he's like, "Wait, what the fuck did you hear that? It's classified information."
Even her face when she says it, she immediately goes, "Oh fuck me."
Yeah, she's dropped. She knows she's dropped a clanger.
Yeah.
But before Brazen can get really mad about that, Plantagenet falls off his bed and starts sinking into the earth.
Oh, the
by
effect
this
on
time,
this.
Brazen has already left the room.
Yeah,
It's just Tegan and a soldier there.
Tegan and an orderly, but the effect on this is so bad.
Really, I mean, they basically just wiggle into some loose dirt, and the actor goes, "Help me, help me!" And they crossfade him out like
Yeah,
static.
why couldn't they just have him fall through the dirt?
That would have been kind of cool.
Nobody wanted to get buried with fake dirt. I don't know.
True.
I think that actually might be the reason.
But you know what's funny, Kat? I don't know if you've watched all of that Trial of the Time Lord box set yet.
Not
But
yet.
like in the final story, you know the Valiards.
Yes.
And there's a part where he tries to kill the Doctor by burying him in like quicksand. And Colin Baker actually sinks pretty far down into that goddamn quicksand. He's a pro. They don't crossfade him. He's actually in this shit. And they do, and the resolution, sorry to spoil this, is that he comes back out of it. But like he sort of rises out of it, like unreally, just rises out. And what they did was they just reversed the shot of sinking Colin Baker into it. So Colin Baker, the pro, he sunk his entire goddamn body in the gross ass mud and quicksand for the show.
And do you see why I keep saying he was given a bad rap?
Oh yeah,
That's why I like Colin Baker. He is actually willing to do this shit.
Colin Baker went into quicksand for our sins.
Yes.
Yeah, fucking. So none of this fade out composite bullshit.
Oh, actually, we should also mention that the reason that Brazen leaves is because a bunch of people suddenly come in and they're trying to see Plant Man because they're worried that he's already dead.
But now they'll never get the plant shield because he disappeared into the earth.
Well, he hasn't done that yet. But Brazen follows them outside where people are apparently already looting the ship. So there's already anarchy going on.
Yeah, and
God.
he encounters someone we've seen in part 1 before. We didn't talk about him much, but Cockerel.
Yes.
Cockerel used to be monitoring the planet for signs of the bombardment, but he stopped that from happening, did Brazen. And Cockerel's saying, like, they're uneasy, they're restless, they think Plantagenet's dead, and if you show him that he's alive, then this will stop. And Brazen just bluffs him away, like he successfully.
But also kind of hard to do now that Plantagenet is sunken into the goddamn earth.
Yeah, which he doesn't know at this point. I will say one thing about Frontios. I do like the pairing of Norna and Turlo here.
Nice.
And Norna we've seen before in Doctor Who, or we see after in Doctor Who. Leslie Dunlop was in Happiness Patrol.
Oh, neat.
She was Susan Q, I believe.
Neat.
Neat.
I think it's the same actress. It sounds like the same actress, but
Anyway, let's talk about how cool Tegan is.
oh my god, this. So Brazen comes back from shooing off the dissenters, and Plantagenet's gone in the air. Tegan's panicking. She's like, "I've got to get out of here." She gets away from the order, but then Brazen comes in and says, "Where are you going?" She grabs a pair of electrical cables. Brazen's like, "Well, have no of that behaviour here, young lady." She just zaps him in the chest.
Well, she doesn't zap him in the chest. She touches the two wires together so that they create a very bright light that blinds him.
I don't care. She's a badass.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying she doesn't shock him.
All right, yeah, she blinds him with the cables, but she was a badass in Earthshock. She's a badass in this.
I mean, don't forget the part where she runs out the door and shuts it, and then gets a metal bar and shoves in between the handles of the door to bar them in.
Tegan is
and
awesome.
again, she's doing all this in heels.
Yeah, Tegan is awesome.
Fucking heels.
Tegan fucking rules. Okay, so our cliffhanger then. The Doctor is down in the tunnels along with Range, trying to find Turlo and Norna. And well, they find Turlo, and Turlo is scared out of his goddamn mind, babbling about tractators. He's just absolutely fucking petrified.
He's catatonic at this point, nearly.
Catatonic. So the doctor leaves Turlo with range and goes in further to investigate, and we get giant pillbugs.
Yay!
Our monster of the week is giant woodlice.
Tractators, who have Norna caught in a...
the shrimp cockroaches.
They've got Norna caught in a beam. It's gravity power. That's their gimmick. They control gravity, so it's like a gravity bubble keeping Norna in place. And the doctor is investigating. Tegan manages to make her way down here too and comes in from the opposite tunnel. He chews her away, but that lets the tractators hear him, and so the gravity bubble pulls him forward. And really, the effect is just the actors moving forward, going, "No, I can't move!" And while they put pink filter shit over them from the 80s.
It's not known its gravitational pull at this moment. It just looks like a force field, but that's what's happening.
So that's the end of part 2. The doctor and Norna are caught by the pillbugs. What are we going to do? Well, the fun thing is they actually set this up. We didn't mention it, but they actually set up the cliffhanger resolution here. Okay, so when they got to Frontios at first, and they wanted light because the only lights they had were these shitty little green lanterns. Not
phosphorus lanterns. Phosphor.
You do not get to slander Hal Jordan like that.
I do if it's a Ryan Reynolds film.
Fair enough. Carry on.
Okay,
you know what's really funny is apparently Ryan Reynolds had never seen Green Lantern before, and he just recently watched it. He didn't even go to his own premiere. That's how bad it is.
He made up for it with Deadpool, but it shows.
Yeah, but yeah. So these lights, these phosphorus lights, they're sort of dim, but they do give a bit of light off. But they're also kind of volatile and dangerous. And the doctor's like, "Don't shake them up too much. I mean, they're pretty volatile." And Turlo, being an asshole earlier in part 1, he just like this, and shakes up.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, "Cut that shit out." But that comes in.
These are phospholamps.
But that comes in as the cliffhanger resolution to part 3 because they have these lamps down here in the tunnels. Tegan's got one too, so she sees the doctor and Norna caught by a gravity beam. She's got her lamp, so she just hucks it at these things, and the lamp blows up and sort of distracts the tractators long enough for the doctor, Norna, and Tegan to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Yay!
Speaking of get the hell out of here, Brazen and his orderly have managed to beat the living shit out of that door and bust it open. And they're pissed. Brazen's fucking pissed.
I mean, that's pretty much him for half of the story, but
so a lot of episodes are just playing around in the tunnels. But I had to note this part. I don't know how the sequence of events goes, but the 5th Doctor, he's down here in the tunnels. He's crouching behind this orb, and some tractators come and pull the orb away from his hiding place. So I just wrote down, "No, not my Katamari, give it back."
It's even better though, because the Katamari then rolls in and knocks them over.
Which then I wrote bowling for tractators.
Nice.
And so run this
Brazen's mom has got it going on.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Run this.
That is not bowling for soup. I'm sorry, but it's not.
I know it's not. Sorry.
Let's.
It's Fountains of Wayne, isn't it? I've screwed up.
Oh, jeez.
All right, 1985. Got there, nailed it.
Well, no, this premiered in 1984, so you're still wrong.
But that's the song by Bowling for Soup, isn't it? At least.
It is by Bowling for Soup. Yes, you've got that. At least.
Right. No, I do love the fact that he bowls them down with his ball and then makes a cricket joke.
Of course he does. It's the 5th Doctor. But run this through a little more, right?
Yeah, well, Tegan is no longer a badass because she returns for the Doctor. And Bidme's clearly said she's had her fun for the episode because she gets taken by the same magnetic force that got the Doctor earlier.
Wah.
So the Doctor,
they both get taken.
Yeah, the Doctor just does the same thing Tegan did and breaks the hole with the phosphor lamp. Meanwhile, back with Turlo, he's still ranting and raving and babbling about tractators, but there's more to it now. He's now talking about his home planet.
Which, it's not named in the episode, but his planet, I believe, it's either called Alpha Trion or just Trion. I don't remember.
Well, he's a Vizsla, isn't he? But I think it's Trion.
Well, it's something like that. It's not really revealed until a couple stories later from here, but
yeah. No.
Anyway, his planet. Anyway, the point is his planet.
Yeah, his planet seems to have been affected by these tractators somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Which the idea here is that the tractators did bullshit to his planet thousands of years ago, and somehow this implanted like a race memory of being scared shitless of tractators in every member of Turlo's species. So he sees these tractators and like his fight or flight kicks in. And he's like, ah, fuck!
Oh, not just fight or flight. He's also got these deep ancestral memories that are surfacing.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the little shit who's been like sort of snarky is now sort of on the back foot and just petrified out of his goddamn mind for half the story.
Turlo goes through quite a bit in this one.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the guy. But while all this is happening underground, some stuff is going on upstairs as well.
Oh my god.
Where Brazen's trying to, get order back. He's going through the ship and he finds Cockerel. And, Cockerel's gone retrograde. He's, saying Frontios is finished. And Brazen's just like, get the hell out of here. Kicks him out, lets him have his food. But Cockerel actually gets pounced on by all these other people who try to take his stuff.
Oh my god, he gets beat to crap.
He actually has a bloody nose, and there's blood on his nose when you see him.
I thought he was half dead at first, but you're right.
Brazen, but no,
Brazen has already said to his orderlies that from now on, the severest penalty for any kind of retrograde activity, looting, it's punishable by which you assume is like firing squad. It isn't actually. Yeah. Brazen actually lets out Cockerel and says, "You've got like a few days' food supply at best. Don't come back crawling to me." So he lets him go, but then doesn't do anything when they attack him. He's made his choice.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting then is that he gets beat to shit. He gets all his food stolen and knocked onto the ground. And hey, he can't get up. Oh no! Help! The earth is pulling me down. Help!
Yep. And the retrogrades are just watching him do this. But at some point, this is when the Doctor and Tegan manage to find that tractator who's doing that. The tractator gets distracted, and suddenly Cockerel is just fine.
Yeah, and the other retrogrades are astonished by this.
And it leads to some weird cargo cult sort of thing where they're like, "Oh,
he has risen.
He's the chosen one.
You'll lead us to the glory of revolution.
Take us to the promised land," so on and so forth.
Like a reverse of the Toy Story aliens. You weren't taken. Ooh.
I like how that came back from last week when we talked about the claw.
And now I'm mirroring last week. Fuck.
That's never going away, is it? That's never going away.
No, never.
For years, never going away.
Anyway, Brazen's been busy because he has now arrested Range and Norna when they return to the
they've made it back to the surface by now.
Yeah. He doesn't arrest Turlo, but he just because he's not really a threat, because he's just babbling and
yeah.
I will say though that one thing Norna and Range did while they were down here is they found an old map, and there's writing on it, and it's Captain Revere's handwriting. So
intriguing.
Clearly, he knew what was up. So Range is at like his. At first, I thought it was a court-martial, but I guess it's just an inquiry.
It's a trial.
Yeah. There you have.
He's on trial for spreading disinformation. Norna, well, she wasn't really part of it, but Brazen doesn't know this, so he's just trying to find out what's going on, basically. There's a deputy that's taking notes and running the trial proceedings. She doesn't really get to do much, unfortunately. Her agent clearly let her down that day badly. But Brazen actually stops the trial. He stops the deputy from transcribing it when Taylor starts to mention tractators. And he's probably just playing here to get Taylor to work with him, but he sort of becomes like, kind of sympathetic towards him, saying, "Go on, lad, you've had a hard time. Tell us what you know."
Then we get
Well,
the
I mean,
reveal.
I think he means it because Brazen has seen the Earth actually eat people. He didn't want to admit this, but he has to now that he has actual proof of
Yeah.
this going on.
Plantagenet called Brazen a good man, like an old-fashioned man, but a good man. And he kind of proves it here.
Yes.
He's allowing himself to have his mind change. He's not like, I'm absolutely dead set in my ways, and you are guilty, and this is going to happen. As the information starts to come through, he starts to learn and change from it.
Which,
Yes.
yeah. And it does feel better than, again, I keep saying, these authority figures who impede progress to solving the story in other lesser well-plotted Doctor Who's. That's a sentence. But you know what I'm trying to say. Less elegantly plotted Doctor Who stories where it's like,
Yes.
I mean, look, like, here, I'll give you the comparison. Brazen is a billion times more sensible and reasonable than, say, Professor Stallman in Inferno.
Yeah.
Like, you try to imagine that. He's like, oh, I'm willing to listen and have my mind changed. No, I'm right. I'm right. You're wrong, and I'll do
One of
whatever
the
I
good things
want.
of Shot that wasn't, apart from his accent, was Lieutenant Scott.
Yeah.
Because he was willing to listen, and here Brazen is willing to listen. He's a bit more, well, brazen than Scott. Well, that's why he's called that, surely.
Maybe, yeah, that's a good. That's kind of on the nose.
All right. I'll give you this. I'll give you this, Rain.
Thank you.
So
My work here is done.
another reveal that we have is that Captain Revere's body that they recovered was actually just someone else's body, and they hid the face for his public funeral.
Oh, that's horrible. There's no shortage of corpses on Frontios. Ugh.
So the idea is that Captain Revere could still be alive. And speaking of people who are still alive, Plantagenet, who the Tractators have stuck in the goddamn hamster ball.
They've stuck it inside an atmosphere from gladiators.
Oh, Jesus.
Seriously, it just looks like an atmosphere from gladiators.
Oh, God.
I can almost believe
He's sorbing right now.
I can almost believe in 1992 that when they made that game for that show, they just like raided the old Doctor Who set and found it. But that's the atmosphere.
Oh, God.
Because that is a giant hamster ball that they ran around in. But
So Brazen and Range and some other orderlies are going down to the tunnels to try and find Plantagenet, and Turlo and Norna are staying up. And we get this little scene from Turlo where he's trying to be brave, and he's basically does this whole pick a coin thing, see my destiny. And he's got his two hands in fists. He's hiding his coins. So Norna picks one, and there's the coin. He's like, oh, well, I guess it was destiny. I got to go down there. And then it's revealed that both the coins are the same.
Yeah. As he's going down, Norna thinks, hang on a minute, opens his hand up by force, and there's the other coin.
Yeah.
I like that.
So,
I like that too.
Yeah. The Doctor and Tegan, meanwhile, and we're getting to the end of episode 3 here, and this is kind of fucked up. They end up in the lair of the Tractators because they hear the sounds of this excavator machine, and they're basically like, well, it's either go get killed by that machine or go face the Tractators. They pick the Tractators. And then the excavating machine comes in, and there's a dude's head in it.
Oh, there's more than a head, sadly.
And it's like, and Tegan's like, "Oh, that's awful. They shoved a dead body in there to power it." And the Doctor's like, "Oh, no, that guy's alive."
Yeah.
And Tegan says, "Wait, he looks familiar." And the Doctor, "Where have I seen his face before?" And the Doctor says, "That's Captain Revere."
Which, how did he know it's Captain? He's never seen Captain Revere at this point.
Well, there's posters and shit of him up, like propaganda posters, all over the colony ship.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sorry, but there's a difference between seeing General Kitchener and General Kitchener's corpse.
Yeah, well,
you wouldn't know from the posters what he looks like.
It's a bit of an ass pull, but it works. I mean, the horror of the moment works.
It's horrific.
And I was mentioning the Prime Directive, but this guy is fucking Captain Pike from Star Trek now.
Oh God.
I hope you get that one.
Do you know who he reminds me of in a modern day Who setting?
What's that?
Ooh.
My name is Max.
Oh, fuck's sakes.
Well, he does look a bit like that.
Jesus.
Like a head wide into the machinery, and he can move.
So, anyways, there's a leader of the Tractators who's called the Gravis, and he actually seems to kind of know who the Doctor is. And he's very, very interested in a TARDIS. He's very interested.
Yeah,
Super
we're on part
interested.
we're on the final part here. I just want to highlight the fact that the Doctor just walks up to these bugs and holds out his hand. He's like, "How do you do?" Oh, wait, you're bugs. You don't have. It's cute.
At least people
yeah.
to do some acting that day.
Yeah, it's cute. So the leader of the, like you said, the leader of the bugs is a Gravis and knows the Doctor by reputation, knows the Time Lord. And we glossed over this at the end of part 3. It's showing up, but it's reprised here. Norna's alone in the research room, and the deserters, retrogrades, if you will, bust in, and Norna straight up just slams one to the ground as he tries to get in.
That's in part 4, but yeah, at the beginning of part 4.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, we're
talking about part 4.
We're in part 4 now.
Yeah, Norna is also a badass.
Yeah, but well, I mean, I wrote down Norna ain't fucking with these dudes. I paused the episode for that. I started again, and then a second later, she checks his body. He gets up and he grabs her by the throat, and now he's got her hostage. So, oops.
Yes, her compassion kind of did for her there.
Yeah. She got a good one through. She got a good one in. I'll give her that.
Oh, she kicked his ass.
She doesn't want to kill him. She just wants to stop him.
What happens now is interesting regarding the Doctor and the Gravis. Definitely interesting. So basically what the Doctor's doing here is he's lying through his teeth to try and get the Gravis to trust him. And he's willing to throw, and he's apparently betraying everyone and willing to throw people under the bus to get it. Like, he's trying to lie about having the TARDIS, and he pretends that Tegan is actually an android, and is basically just leaving her into the gravity beam to be like, oh, well, fuck it. And later in the episode, he's going to hook Plantagenet to the same thing that Captain Revere was hooked to. So it's like, oh no, Doctor, you traitor, what are you doing? And
which is especially messed up because Plantagenet is actually Captain Revere's son.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah.
So I guess, I think the implication is Captain Revere gets burned out from this and he's just dead?
He finally dies, yes. His brain function is just exhausted by operating the digger machine, and he perhaps mercifully just gets to die.
Now I remembered this observation I had the last time I watched Frontios. But I kept it in my pod over here. Now, this is interesting, because the Doctor, the 5th Doctor here, is kind of betraying his companions and stuff for the greater good of trying to trick the villains, but he's not letting them in on the plan. He's being real callous and shit about it. The way that it's played almost would fit, like, the 6th Doctor. But we don't know that yet, because the 6th Doctor hasn't debuted yet, but here's that sort of characterization of the Doctor early with the 5th Doctor. So maybe the weird acerbic shit seen in episodes like Twin Dilemma or what's another one where he pretends to side with Mind Warp is another one from the Trial of a Time Lord series. Shit like that where he pretends to side with the baddies and doesn't let his companions in on the plan and seemingly betrays them. I find it interesting that it shows up here with the 5th Doctor, who, now the 5th Doctor is basically a cuddly, sort of happy-go-lucky type of doctor. It's just like, I see the beauty in the universe. What a lovely place. I'm here to help, all that shit. And now here he is like, oh, well, yeah, I'm just going to completely betray you. It's interesting. It's a Doctor-ish tone. You could see the 6th or even 7th Doctor see Remembrance of the Daleks. You can see them doing this shit, but when you see the 5th Doctor doing it, it's a little weird and off-putting. Makes you think. I don't know what you think. The two of you think about that.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, same. I mean, it was a good way to keep Tegan from being the one put into the machine, so.
Yeah.
I should point out that the Tractators find Tegan, and they need a new driver, and they found their driver.
Well, that's much later on. That's much later on.
Oh, it is.
There's
Sorry,
other
yes.
stuff first.
You're right. I've jumped in there. That's afterwards. But yeah, I don't mind the fact that he appears to be betraying his friends, because we know he isn't, but the villains can't know that.
Yeah.
And the best way to make it convincing is to make your allies think you betrayed them.
Yep.
You can sort it out in the wash later, and they won't hate your guts for it, but hopefully.
So yeah. So just a quickie: as Norna's tied up by the deserters, they basically raid the armory, and now they've got guns. And Cockrell is like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go down into the tunnels, and we're gonna save the day. Yeehaw!"
This is weird because Cockrell actually attacks the guy that's got Norna.
That's very odd.
He actually knocks the retrograde out, like he's a rogue retrograde. So there's now like rogues to the retrograde faction as well. It's strange, but
There's the ones that follow Cockrell, and then there's the ones who just are assholes.
I guess. But if
Let's say
they've
that.
arrived to take over the ship,
Yeah.
they're not going to save the day. They're going to take over the ship.
Yeah.
And Cockrell wants to be a second Plantagenet, which is, he said, I didn't want to be this, but if he's gone, I guess I'll have to step up, because I can do anything. I was not swallowed by the earth.
Yep.
Back down below. Oh, go ahead.
No. You're right about down below. So Turlo's caught up with Brazen and his orderlies, 5 handpicked loyal orderlies that he's taken with him.
Well, before we say that, while the doctor is with the Gravis and everything, he works out that it was the Tractators who pulled down the ship because they have the gravity powers, so they literally pulled it out so that they could have these people.
Yes.
They allowed them to establish themselves, and then they start these bombardments, which what I assumed, because they never really explained this, is that they started the bombardments in order to drive the people underground.
That's exactly it.
As well as injure them.
That's exactly it.
That's the grand plan.
The Gravis can talk. The Gravis is intelligent, and he says to the Doctor that his people were marooned on Frontios 500 years ago. And they've just been allowing the colonists to do what they were doing up to a point, and then they began the bombardments. They were left alone for 10 years, basically, so they could start up their collection.
Yep.
Get well enough established that they get everything in order, so the Tractators have people for their grand plan.
Yeah, honestly, I think they did it way too soon. They should have given them a chance to have, like, kids and stuff. It's like they're going to run out eventually.
Yeah.
I guess they got impatient. I don't know what they did.
They must have.
They clearly live a long time, because 500 years is a long time, but...
And now they're going to plug Plantagenet into the mining thing, and the Doctor's helping Plantagenet. Is like, "Oh, Doctor, you traitor! I curse you!" Ah. But the Doctor lets him know in secret that he's got a plan. So he's at least giving him that info, which he didn't get a chance to tell Tegan that.
Yeah.
Turlo is sneaking in, and he gets caught by a gravity beam, but Brazen and Co. help him out. And
well, it's Brazen's fault, because Brazen alerts the Tractators by mistake.
Yeah, so Brazen fixes his own oopsie.
He just grabs on of Turlo's feet.
And all hell basically breaks loose, and the Gravis is after them, but Davison takes the part of the mining machine, part of the little neural hookup or whatever you want to call it, and shoots some lightning out and shocks the Gravis and knocks him down. And interestingly, this makes all the Tractators stand out, too.
And can I say the best part of this scene is when they're first coming in, they came in through a back way, the same place where Tegan was, so they were able to rescue Tegan as well from the gravity beam. And a bunch of the orderlies just crowd around this Tractator that's there and start beating the shit out of it.
Police brutality!
Oh no. They're just beating the shit out of this Tractor. Yeah, but
it's just so funny.
God.
That's screwed up. I think, isn't one trying to choke it out?
I
think.
With the bat got around the throat, and then the other's just going, take that, you scum!
Christ's sakes, this is fucked up. Okay, so the Gravis isn't dead, just stunned, but also it stunned all the other Tractators, and this will be important for the resolution. But
Yep.
then Turlo does an oopsie for some goddamn reason. He's fixated on the mining machine, the drilling machine, and he almost gets in it. Brazen pulls him away, but then the thing snares Brazen and gets him, and he's a goner.
Yeah.
According to TARDIS Wiki, it says Turlo, however, is mesmerized by the excavation machine, which symbolizes all that is evil about the Tractators in his unconscious memory.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Okay,
Sure.
Because Turlo's isn't fixed until a bit later on.
But wait, hang on. I thought that the excavation machine wasn't entirely villainous.
Oh.
I'll never get over that. So
Brazen leaps in and saves the day, or saves Turlo at least, but unfortunately he is caught by the machine. And he just orders the doctor, get everyone else away. I will send this machine, just do it.
So we're basically near the climax of the story here now, and the real plan of the Gravis is revealed, and it's a gonzo doozy.
Oh boy, tell us.
They, as it turns out, the tunnels that they've been digging in Frontios are a perfect ring, and they're nice and smooth and all. And what they're building is something called a gravity motor, which will enable them to drive the planet Frontios across the galaxy and conquer more planets.
So
I have several questions.
Let me get this straight. What you're saying is that there's an alien underground using a hive mind to control beings similar to itself that's firing meteors at planet, can use gravity powers, and is having humans work to destroy the planet it's on so that it can fly across the universe on it, and defeated by a blonde guy with his companions.
What's the punchline here? Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Fuck!
Did you hit something?
God damn it! How long did you work on that? I literally had the Discord tabbed out. I was like, what are you talking about?
Holy shit!
That's the plot to Final Fantasy VII. A guy calls down a meteor so that he can destroy a planet, and the whole Mago reactor things, so that they could take the planet and drive through the universe with it.
Peace was never an option.
Oh wait, he really wanted to drive around the universe and the planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Jenova were intending to use the husk of the planet to drive around the universe on it.
Listen, it's been like 15 years since I played the game. Really? I just thought he wanted to.
Yes.
No, seriously, she's right.
That's seriously the point of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
This has blown my mind in more ways than one.
Okay. Well, you want your mind blown? Here's the climax, and this is a scene that.
Can we not say blown and climax in the same sentence?
Why ever not, honey?
Oh.
Okay.
Please,
so
let's never come from Final Fantasy VII.
Aren't we all?
Yes,
we all?
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this final scene. I know this is a scene that Mike objects to because, well, it is kind of bullshit in its own way, but you know me, I can forgive bullshit like this. It's close enough. So, and it's also a very well done scene. It's, again, like I said, if the playing along with the Tractator scene earlier was prescient of the Sixth Doctor, this is definitely prescient of the Seventh Doctor. Because what we get is straight up, oh no, Mr. Villain, please don't do the thing. Whatever you do, don't do the thing.
I love
I'm
this.
going to do the thing, Doctor.
I love this.
No, the thing has destroyed me. It was your plan all along that I would do the thing.
I unironically love this.
Okay, so this is great. So, Tegan finds, down in the tunnels, bits of the TARDIS that have been dimensionally ripped off, and
This
just
is
strewn
still
about
weird to me. I have no idea why this has happened.
The meteors and the gravity fucked with the dimensions, I guess.
Sure.
Let's say that.
I thought it was that the Tractators just pulled it to pieces by mistake, but
yeah. Anyway. So we're in the TARDIS console room, and there's rocks everywhere. The thing obviously can't take off anything. It's powerless. None of the bullshit works, but we know now that the tractators draw all their power from the gravis. So if we can get the gravis away from the tractators, that'll stop both of them. The gravis won't be able to do shit, and the tractators won't be able to ruin Frontios. And so the gravis has seen Tegan go into this TARDIS console room. So he's basically at the door. Doctor, you're surrounded. You can't get away. And the doctor pops out and he's basically like, okay, you know what? You win. You can have Frontios. That's all I want. The Time Lords aren't going to interfere with your bullshit. So you can take the planet. I'm just going to go away in this room with this open door, which, I've accidentally left the door open. Oops. And the Gravis sees the TARDIS console. He's just like, that's a TARDIS. Holy shit. Let me see it. Let me see it. And the doctor's just like, oh, well, okay, fine. You can see it, I guess. And he's fucking around. He's like, oh, well, everything's busted up. Please excuse them. I mean, these circuits here aren't online, so I've got them turned off. The Gravis turns them on. And it's like, oops, you really shouldn't have pressed that button. See, now the TARDIS is scanning for all the broken pieces of itself. But, it can't reconstitute itself, not without, like, immense gravitational force or anything. The Gravis, naturally, is like, oh, well, I'll just reconstitute it myself and take it for myself. And, the doctor's like, oh, no, Mr. Gravis, please don't do that. Just take Frontios, take your cool... To drive around on your planet, just do whatever you want. Just leave me my TARDIS. Please don't do that. And the Gravis proceeds to pull the TARDIS back together with gravitational powers.
Yep.
I would say it's a good thing that the graph's pretty, but ain't even that.
Yeah.
Ain't even that.
There's a bit we miss, though, because Brazen's death, while it feels unnecessary ultimately in the narrative, it does serve some purpose because it somehow blows up the excavator.
Well, one of the excavators. They apparently have others.
They have a second one, yeah. But apparently, maybe it's because it was set up for Plantagenet and Brazen wasn't Plantagenet, so it couldn't take it and it exploded.
Well, the doctor did also mess with some of the wires on it, which caused that electric shock. So, the wiki says that the machine goes haywire. So let's just say
sure. Brazen deserved better, but
yeah.
Anyway. Tegan finds a piece of the TARDIS, then the Gravis corners her and says, well, we found the drive for our second machine, haha, and that's what sets us all into motion.
Yeah.
So the Gravis is putting the TARDIS back together, and the effect is basically just, what they've done is they've just put a bunch of rocks in front of, like, the TARDIS round things, and they fade out the rocks, rather than make any complicated special effects. It's abstract, it's budget, but it works. The idea is that all the pieces of the TARDIS are coming back together, and this neutralizes the Gravis because I think the idea here is that the TARDIS is dimensionally transcendental, is in a different dimension, so the Gravis is now in a different dimension for the Tractators, so that severs their link.
I mean, you could also even just say the TARDIS has enough shielding to be able to destroy the mind.
I believe that's the effort that he put forth to bring the TARDIS back together tires him out and renders him dormant.
It's long enough for the Doctor to take the repaired TARDIS to some uninhabited rock and drop the Gravis off so that he can't get off and do anything, and all the Tractators are going to be dormant down there on Frontios.
Yeah, they're harmless now.
So, the day is saved. They're going to give the colonists the lovely gift of the most powerful object in the TARDIS, a hat rack.
That's really funny because it turns like the Doctor's got a surprise for you. He's got like a present for you. And it turns out to be the hat stand, but Plantagenet was like, you gave me a hat stand, what the hell? He's like, thank you, Doctor, we'll treasure it.
And they're basically like, well, goodbye, thanks for all your help. And the Doctor says, don't mention it. And it's like,
seriously,
no, really.
Don't mention it.
Yeah, really don't mention it.
Because of the whole Prime Directive Time Lord thing. I don't know.
That is weird, but they can't tell anyone what he's done today.
Yeah, there's theories about this. Like, I mean, the Doctor interferes in bullshit all the time, but there's some sort of rule that Bidmead is making up on the spot here. I'm not sure of his reasoning, but he must have a good one. I'm sure you can divine one out with the headcanon or something, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But the episode ends with something else pulling the TARDIS somewhere, which I believe is a lead into the next story, Resurrection of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a really good one because the Doctor's like, we're being pulled to the center of the universe. And look, Doctor, I know that the Earth is the center of your universe, but it's not the center of the universe, honey.
He
I'm
calls,
sorry.
He calls it the middle of the universe, but you might
Actually,
think what was
funny
happening
enough-
earlier. This is a setup for going to Taylor's home planet, but no, that happens later.
Actually, you know what's funny is that we've seen the center of the universe on Doctor Who reviews.
Yeah, we have.
The center of the universe is Terminus.
Yeah,
Hey.
So this is
we're
not
all going to die.
Fuck. So yeah, Resurrection of the Daleks. What? Wait, which is what? Oh, it's the Doctor Who episode that pissed the most people off.
Apparently.
Because of the violence,
Yeah.
kind of violence in Doctor Who. Think of the children.
I mean, to be fair, Resurrection of the Daleks does have a pretty high body count. It is kind of reveling in the violence. It's like,
I mean, it's a Dalek.
It's
episode.
a Dalek story, yeah.
I mean, even for a Dalek episode, it's sort of like you got scenes of controlled police officers just laser gunning people in the streets of London and shit. It's a Dalek story by the writer of Earthshock.
Ah,
Oh, it's basically what would happen if America ever wrote a Doctor Who story.
Well, we got that. That was the TV movie.
Yeah, but there weren't enough guns in the TV movie.
There were some. So,
I don't know.
let's.
there was Eric Roberts dressing for the occasion, though, so I think that has the leg up on it there.
Anyway, that was Frontios. What did we think of Frontios?
Not as bad as Mike made it out to be.
I mean, maybe Mike can drop a comment or something below, and
I was
please,
expecting something terrible, but it wasn't.
please, Mike, feel free to explain why you personally don't like Frontios in the comments, so that everyone can get the other take. But who wants to go first?
Well, you both picked it, didn't you? So why don't you both go first, and I'll bring up the rear.
All right,
Take it in turns, and then I'll bring up the rear.
all right. So I'll kick off here. This episode is fine. There are some parts that kind of honestly bored me about it. Just the way it dragged on. Maybe I was in just the mood. I had a lot of shit to do yesterday and today, but you know, some parts of it were just like, oh, okay, get on with it. It didn't. So parts of it didn't grab my attention, but there are parts of it that are really good. I've praised them. Like the entire climax is pretty great as a classic Doctor. Oh, you've tricked me. And Davison gets some cool stuff and some funny moments. The companions get a fair shake to do. No one really gets yazzed here, so to speak. They both have their contributions to the plot, and also both have their moments away from the spotlight. So it's a fair shake with two companions. And it's decent. Just, like, I don't know. There's nothing really spectacular about it, save a few scenes, but there's nothing really awful about it. It's not nearly as bad as some other Doctor Who stories I can name. It's middle of the road Doctor Who. It is a perfectly functional Peter Davison story that might put you a bit on autopilot, but it's not the worst Peter Davison story of all time. Cat?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we've seen worse episodes than this, and at the very least, this had a cohesive story that needed all 4 episodes to tell it. There wasn't too much filler, as far as I'm aware.
Well, the battery thing, kinda.
Yeah, but that's just a side quest. It's like the Chocobo side quest.
That's back to Final Fantasy VII again.
Everything leads back to Final Fantasy VII.
When you listen back to this, you're going to hear some of the references that I did to Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, fuck, you were throwing in Final Fantasy VII bullshit.
I even said they were going to go to the Promised Land. You
Oh.
didn't catch it.
I mean, I dropped some Mega Man references earlier, so that works.
I mean, I threw some mirror references in earlier. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, but Mirror is not a video game franchise. Shut up.
Honey, we always notice when you do a mirror reference because it's all the time.
I feel blessed, Kat. But
Why couldn't you just let me make believe?
Go on, Kat.
Eris is dead. But
Jesus Christ!
Oh my god, cop block.
Does Blaze ever watch our Doctor Who reviews? Because he's gonna be so mad at me after this one.
Well, I'm gonna link him this one. Hi, Blazy. You can make it to the end.
I know I'm not talking about what I thought of the episode. It was fine. But it's like, I was talking to my friend Chris last night, and I was like, hey, Chris, does this sound familiar? And I described the episode. She's like, that's Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, the episode's fine. It's like, it's not something that I'm going to go, hoot and holler and tell people that they need to watch, like, Hellbent or, other episodes that I can't think of at this time because it's me trying to think off the top of my head. But it's not the worst I've seen either. It's fun. It gives Turlo something to do, which is nice. And, he's not, like, always the screaming coward that he seems to be. So I enjoyed it.
Nice. Okay, Ryan.
Hoot and holler. This is not being broadcast on Fox. Oh boy. R.I.P. Larry King. Farewell to a real one. So yeah, Frontios then, I got this built up in my mind that from Mike that this was going to be some sort of terrible, unspeakable evil, and it's just okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just middle of the road. Parts of it are kind of boring. It's very repetitive, but the side characters are quite fun. I mean, Brazen's good, Plantagenet gets some nice character development, Norna's good, Ranger's good. I forgot his name for a second. That's how good a character he was. The stuff with Cockerel being the second coming is a bit strange.
Yeah.
And I
didn't
do
even
love...
end. By the way, how did that even end? Cockerel's revolution.
He just goes back to Frontios.
Oh.
Yeah, it just sort of ends.
In the prose novel of the book, all the retroists just go back to service on Frontios.
Oh, okay.
All is kind of forgiven, all is sort of forgotten about, and mine is Brazen. They're just back on Frontios.
Am I right in saying that pretty much the most offensive thing in this story is maybe the TARDIS stuff? If only because that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it,
and
but
yeah,
also
I do love the finale.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Gravis as a Doctor Who monster. There's been far worse and far weirder monsters than giant woodlice that can control gravity.
Yeah, arachnids.
Even if the Gravis is a bit of an uninspired name, the Tractators. Oh yeah, Tractor Beam, Tractators. Call it a day. Yeah. But no, it's fine. And I thought I hadn't seen this one before, but it turns out I had. I definitely seen the finale before because I like to see a YouTube video of it. But it turns out I've seen parts of this during the Twitch marathon.
Oh.
And you forgot.
And just didn't realise it was Frontios. But yeah, it's not the worst thing ever, but it does not invalidate Mike's belief that it is his least favourite episode.
I mean, yeah, so that's your opinion, Mike.
Yep.
I was almost cruel and decided to repeat what I said at the start of the podcast, but I won't do that. Instead, I will just give away my pick for next week because it's my choice.
Yes.
Oh God, what have we got?
Well, we've done a couple of stories involving Time Lords that weren't the Doctor.
Yes.
The Master, and we've also touched on the Rani, but there's actually a third renegade Time Lord who's got quite a bit of a cult following and reappeared in Big Finish.
Oh,
ooh, I don't know this one.
I know.
I'm going to look at him next week.
Oh God, are we doing what I think we're doing?
Because next time on Doctor Who Reviews, William Hartnell stars in a Time Meddler.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking of.
No, his debut.
I thought you were gonna do Morbius.
No.
And we could could have a laugh about the faces scene and yell shit.
No, that's coming later in the year.
Okay. Time Meddler. This is fun. It's been a while.
I know nothing about this. So
it's been a while since we've done the first Doctor. So
that was my idea. Yeah.
So that's cool. Okay.
Some variety, and I also have a fun story to tell you about. The titular Time Meddler.
Let me guess. Your dad met him in a pub or something.
Oh no! This time I'm involved.
Oh.
You met him in a pub or something.
No. He's been long dead, but I'll explain it. I'll explain it next week. It's not really worth waiting a whole week for, but I'll explain it next week.
Oh, this is such a happy episode. This guy's dead. This guy's dead. No, I didn't meet him. He's dead.
It is in the 60s. Come on.
Oh, my mom was alive in the 60s. Excuse you.
Parents were alive in the 60s.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean this to go really dark.
Let's do the wrap. Where can we find these three lovely people?
Well, you can find these two lovely people and me at Freezing Inferno, at Concave Usurper, and at Rainier Domaniac if you're so inclined. The show can be found at Reviews Doctor, and we can also be emailed at goexterminateyourself@gmail.com. Cat sometimes streams video games at twitch.tv/Concave Usurper. And
if I may, I would like to promote a thing from myself.
Please do.
Go ahead.
I'd like to plug my blog, Frezno's Raving Rants.blogspot.com. I'm working on publishing it, but I have finished a long-form project, a 60,000 word deep dive into the magical girl anime, Senki Shesho Symphogear, which is a beautiful show, and I love it, and it made me cry. Yes, nerd, she says.
Cat, let him enjoy things.
Co-hosting a podcast about a 35-year-old British science fiction.
Yeah, let me just look over here at my Sailor Moon themed cross stitch and just.
Yeah. So it's a project I put over a year of time into, on and off writing. So I'm really proud of it, and I'm really happy to finish it. And writing the end of it made me cry. So I'm going to promote that. So you can check my blog. The posts will be coming out. You can catch up with the things just by checking the tags. And I've written a lot of other stuff. I've got a series where I talk about horror movies in October called 31 Screams. I've got some game reviews. I've got some other fun bullshit in the pipeline when I get back to it. So definitely check the blog out. Check out my project on Symphogear. Maybe even watch the show. It's a pretty good show. I think I interested Kat in it because my current avatar on social media is one of the magical girls, and she has a scythe.
Scythe girl, scythe girl, scythe girl, scythe girl.
She's not just a scythe girl; she's a gay scythe girl. So
Yay!
Perfect.
It's like everything I love all rolled into one.
Scythe, magical, gay.
Perfect girl.
Perfect girl. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Anime.
Holy fuck. So that's that. I'll plop the link.
Well, I'll put the description.
And you know what? You know what? Since we're promoting stuff, I'd like to promote something that's near and dear to me as well. It's called Back to the 11th Hour by Chris McTeague.
Oh, thank you. That's very
I
good.
thought with Krista being on the show last week, that was finally the end of the plugs. I was wrong.
Oh, fuck you. It's never
Are you kidding? The memes never end.
Yes, I am kidding.
No, but
you can have that from now to the end of the podcast. I'm fine with that.
and I mean, she's also been starting the Series 6 blogging, Back to the 11th Hour Volume 2 on her blog. So please check out Krista.
We'll put a link below to it, and you can also find her at KristaWolf94. She's very funny. She's very fantastic. She's currently watching Night Terrors, and I feel sorry for her.
She was a great sport last week, I have to admit.
Yeah, she was great.
I just love the fact that Kat said, "Oh no, go fuck yourself." It was obvious I was doing a bit because I like Krista very much, but no, go fuck yourself.
Krista's very good, and I'm sorry she had to watch Night Terrors, but you know she gets some pretty good episodes coming up for the latter half of Series 6 as her research, and she also gets closing time. So
yeah, good with the bad, rough with the smooth.
I mean, I'm excited to see the rest of her posts on Series 6, and you should too.
It's so good. It's so good.
Just like her book, which you can buy on Amazon.com.
See, I hope you get this
around
Symphogear, you get the Symphogear long form project actually published, because then we'll have two sources on this podcast, and I'll feel even more inadequate.
I mean, shit. I got people who are like the same people who published Chris, who helped Chris to get her book out, have basically said to me, they're a friend of the show too, and they basically said to me, hey, we can work together on this shit if you want. So it's going to take some time. I got to recover, and then I would have to edit and all this shit. So don't be expecting the plug, The Harmony of Hope and Dirge of Despair, available now on Amazon.com anytime in 2021, but maybe 2022.
You're complaining, Raniac. I've literally done nothing. So shut up.
No time like the present to start. I mean,
no, fuck that. I hate
God
writing.
damn it! Is it really? Is it really that hard to figure out when I'm doing sarcasm?
Okay, but Kat, you're doing your Sailor Moon cross stitch, and that sounds like. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do a cross stitch. So
I was thinking about putting pictures up on Twitter, but I don't know if anybody would actually be interested in that. So
I'm a gigantic slut for Sailor Moon. So
go ahead. If people tell you it's stupid, tell them to go fuck themselves. You've already done that with it. What's this week?
I wrote
6,000 words bother with
them.
Girls. It's like, here's just a general go fuck yourself. If you don't like anything I'm doing, don't pay attention to me. I don't give a shit.
Rainiac, when we're done, I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna post a clip of Symphogy here so you can see how fucking stupid this show is.
Cat's just turned into Navigator. If you don't like my Sailor Moon Pearlers, you are stupid.
Well, no, they're not stupid. It's like people are allowed to like whatever the hell they like, but also
I'm
go
just
fuck
thinking
yourself. I don't
it's
care. I'm
talking about those
enjoying it.
reviews now. So this might sound offensive, but you're a fucking idiot.
We should say.
I don't give a shit if I sound offensive. Just go fuck yourself.
Again, it's a bit. I'm talking about gaming in the Clinton years.
We should say.
I just also don't care.
Say goodnight, Rainiac.
Good night, Rainiac.
Good night, Rainiac.
I love how that's become a thing now. Thank you to you, the audience, for listening to us talk nonsense, and also Frontios, or maybe the two are connected, I'm not sure. Thank you to Kat and Jerry for talking about Frontios with me. And join us next time for a fun story from me, and also discussion about the Time Meddler. Until then, bye for now.
Bye.
Oh, now the sun comes out when the day's nearly over. Thanks, weather.